A mental health break, listeners. We are going back in time, bringing back Marla, one of our all-star guests, someone who gave back her passion right into you, the listeners. So many tips for success, and she's had a lot of growth, a lot of personal growth, a lot of business growth. So we're going to bring her back on the show to let everyone know the latest. Marla, welcome back to a mental health break.
Yes, thank you so much, Vince. I am happy to be here.
I'm excited to have you back. And if we have some newer listeners tuning in today, scroll down in the show description, take a listen to her first show. This show will also not disappoint, but this is the podcast that
Yeah.
normalizes the conversation on mental health. We all have a story to share. And each week since January 2020, I've been lucky enough to sit down with a mental health advocate or a professional to share their journey, some things they did to get through the tough times, and so much more. Marla, if we missed your first show, please reintroduce everyone.
So, my name is Marla Godette. I am a mental health professional. I have been working in this field in various capacities, from casework to home-based worker to therapist to coach, anything, mentor. I developed a position called a clinical mentor, working with cognitive impairments, mental health issues. I have been in this field for a long time, even though I don't look old. I've done a lot of things in this area, and it's all the passion of, if we don't take care of our mental health, Vince, we're not going to have anything right. Our physical health, our emotions, our finances, our spiritual growth, everything is attached to a sound mind.
I agree with you. When I'm not feeling mentally okay, the rest of my day is just all thrown off. For me, it starts with exercise. If I don't get some form of exercise, I'm just not thinking clearly. And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter how great your job is, how much money you have, what you have planned. If you're not feeling well mentally, is any of it really worth it? For me, I stepped back out of my toxic job where, for me, corporate wasn't for me. I stepped back. That wasn't good for my mental health. I wasn't working to my potential being in that environment. I stepped back,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm following my passion just like you. You touched on how you worked in so many different fields there. Where did you find the most joy? In which mental health stop along your journey? I know you love giving back so much, but can you provide some stories from one of those time periods? But before we get to that, I'd love to hear a quick word from our show sponsor, Tampa Counseling and Wellness, and you could find all of their information in the show description.
Are you constantly exhausted and overwhelmed? Do you struggle with your confidence or self-esteem? Are you ready to live a life with more passion, courage, and excitement? At Tampa Counseling and Wellness, we want to be there for you every step of the way. While we understand that change may be difficult, we have a proven track record of helping our clients live a more joyous and meaningful life. Whether you are looking to overcome some current life challenges or you are looking to do some deeper healing, we are here to help you. Our compassionate approach to therapy is rooted in building your confidence and insight while helping you gain mastery of your life. If you would like to learn more about our services, or you would like to schedule a free consultation with one of our clinicians, please visit us at www.tampacounselingandwellness.com, or simply call or text us at 813-520-2807. We look forward to growing with you. Tampa Counseling and Wellness, where it is okay to not be okay.
Oh, man. Home-based therapy is probably the most impactful form
Really?
of doing work. Well, yeah, because people can't hide. You're in their house, you're in their face, you're in their
Right.
life, you're in their situation. They can't come in your office and sit nice and pretty and say, "Oh no, I really did have a good day. I meant that." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, you not really. I can sense the deceit." But and then they're like, "Oh no, it was this and that," and they do that for like 6 weeks, and then there's this huge break of. But if I'm in your house on day one, oh, as soon as I drive on the block, I can ascertain the environment. I go drive up, I park, I'm going in your crib. I see your house. I see what's happening. And it's not to be in a judgmental, like, ooh, they're this, or, oh, I can see what this is.
Right.
You just know how people live. This is what's happening. This is what's going on. You see the pictures on the wall, right? You see all this stuff that's going on in their implicitness, the unconsciousness all the time. How is that affecting their mental health? How is that affecting what they're doing all the time? Home-based therapy has been probably some of the most rewarding, and it's very humbling for you as a clinician as well. At least it should be, because you're right there.
Is that what you're working on now, home-based therapy?
No, because it is also what will drain you to the core. You do that for so many years, and it's like, right now, I am working on developing my team, making my team broader. I have a group of people who have experience working in social services in some kind of way, and they have a passion for mental wellness and mental health. And they're mentors, and this is on the adult and youth level. And so during the pandemic, it became very clear that we do not have enough therapists, definitely not enough licensed therapists who can supervise the oncoming training of the new therapists. And so, and then people who don't want to deal with insurance and all of that. I mean, you can have your degree and still work under a license and not have to just fool around with insurance and all of that. And so they go off into private practice and charge what they charge, right? Which is unaffordable for a lot of marginalized people. Which is unaffordable for us everyday working people. And so we're at this great deficit in mental health workers, but we're in COVID. And mental health hospitalizations increased 40% in a year. What do you do? And I was led to create this position called a clinical mentor. And they're people with some mental health training and skills that fill the gap while people are waiting for a clinician to get them into the trauma work or whatever it is that they need. So that's what I'm working on now, and it's working well.
That's exciting. Now, who is your ideal candidate to bring on your team? If there's anyone out there in the mental health fields, is it a virtual position? Is it in-person position? What are some of the qualifications?
Could be both, but my people are people right now who've been in the trenches with me for free. Like, this is the people who we've done our pro bono work together. We all have had jobs other places, but we still stepped in when there was people who needed help. People who have been in situations themselves. So people with a lot of empathy. You know, your typical, I'm just out of school and I need a job and I want to give back, and that, probably not ready for this because we get in the grind. So I've picked up a few new people who haven't really been in my direct circle, Vince, but they reached out to me like, hey, I was in one of your trainings and I heard you and I feel like I need to talk to you. And I was like, oh, so they were drawn into our group. So I have people in Florida and Georgia.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Down in Florida. Yeah. With you in Georgia. Yeah. I'm here in Indiana, some in Michigan. So we're getting there.
Just like that, nationwide company. Before you know it, you'll be all over the U.S. and international, I bet.
Oh, absolutely.
I just want to ask you now, for everyone tuning in today, you're a mental health established professional. You find ways to work with your own mental health, as we all have a mental health. What are some things you do to take care of your mental health that may work for some of our audience today?
So one is I have very skilled therapists in my life. I have a therapist at all times or a coach, typically both because they're different. So me because I know me. So at different phases in my life, I might need more coaching, but there's some times where I just need a therapist to help me get to the root of some things. Because as we're growing and evolving, things come up, right? And we're changing, and you're like, where did that come from? I thought I had it together. I'm the pro.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
All pros need to be coached, and they need to get into themselves consistently because we're always changing. So like Vince, don't you think that your mental health world, you personally, is very different now than it was 10 years ago?
Than a month ago, even some ways, and 2 years, it's constantly changing. And that's one thing I learned with the TBI recovery, where everybody's brain is different. There is no one size fits all mental health or brain. You're constantly growing, constantly changing. I mean,
that's it.
Every
so you need
in life.
somebody that's always around that's helping you. And you might need somebody at a different skill set as you grow and change. So I have a couple of good therapists in my pocket that I know, and I can, get appointments with. They're hard to get appointments with, the good ones. But that's how I take care of me, and being in tune to me. Like, you got to know when you got to sit down, when you need to go to sleep, when you need to drink some water.
Listening to you. So you're saying listening to your body, that's somewhat important.
Absolutely.
I love that. Well, you've come back to the show. I've gotten a lot of great notes I've typed up here throughout. And one of the important things I think from the notes here, why having a therapist and coach are both needed, but for different reasons and for different stages of life as we evolve. Yes. We, especially with COVID, so many people not only changed careers, changed career locations, whether it's in office to remote. I can resonate in the beginning where you said that the costs went up with certain therapists. That was hard to get an appointment. For me, that happened. My therapist went private during COVID. So that's when this podcast really took off. Every recording is a therapy session in some way, whether it's with a professional like yourself or with another person. We're just chopping it up about mental health. Is there anything else you want to touch on, Marla, before we sign off today? Anything else related to mental health? And then we'll get to your contact info.
Hey, I just want people to know that in order to destigmatize, we got to use the right terms. There's a big difference between mental health and mental illness. And that's what I'm working on right now. Is oftentimes people will say, man, I was messed up, man. I had a mental health problem. Well, you had a mental illness. It just was acute. It was short term. It was, but we don't want to say that because people will be like, oh, you're this, you're that. But just start using those terms correctly, you all. We all have health, physical and mental. And sometimes we have a mental illness, and it's okay.
I love the way you put that. It's also goes back to not only correct resources being given to people with the internet. We have so many resources, but how many are correct resources with correct information, correct verbiage, correct definitions, correct just overall information that can put us on the right track? I'm not a big internet doctor myself. If I need a doctor, I go to the doctor. That's just that's just me personally. But I know I'm not the only one who found all the value in this show. The listeners are going to love this return. Thank you. Where can we find you online again?
I am at www.mentoringmomentsllc.com. I'm on Facebook, Mentoring Moments LLC. Instagram is ML Godette.
All right, everyone, scroll down in the show description. We'll have all those links right there for you. And I am at A Mental Health Break and at Vincent A. Lancy. Be sure to head to YouTube for some behind the scenes YouTube clip from today's show. I always try to get one at least per episode now, because as we're recording this, I'm just a few days away from a new VA who is really focusing on the one right now. We'll leave it at that. But now,
got to make sure everybody's in the right place.
It's nice as we're trying to scale. I'm trying to, you hear it, delegate the things you're not the best at. In the beginning of entrepreneurship, you wear every hat. You have to be okay at it. But with a solopreneur's budget, now there's just the time and need for this. But we can go talk about VA work for a whole nother episode. But
that's another mental health break.
Oh, that's for sure. We're signing off here across the country together, but she is now in Florida. So be sure to head to her contact info if that sounds like a fit for you. Marla, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one.